Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, April 22nd, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? First card we are starting our day off with is, this is not a good, I told you. This is not a good card. I mean, they're all good cards, but I'm just not surprised. I mean, okay, so what did I just say? The thing about this Scorpio full moon is I'm just going to say this right now. Okay, I told you what we're dealing with here, which is why we got to proceed with caution. We got to proceed with some energetic caution because got the intensity, the come down, right? We're already experiencing the come down, the de-escalation point of the heaviness coming out of the eclipse. We've got the pulling back from the retrograde. I've been describing it as a slingshot. And now we got that little Scorpio. We got that little Scorpio sting that could just set people off today to just boing, like just shoot that thing like in any direction that you want. And that's why I said, even before we started this reading, be very mindful today about not saying the soft part loud, or if you are going to say the soft part loud, not to do it in a way that's intending to take a shot at someone. Remember the difference. It's that prickly energy. Right? That prickly energy, right? What happens when we're feeling the intensity and then it builds up? We can just snap off. You know, it creates that little bit of moment where we could kind of step out of our own self, move out of our own alignment, because we start to just feel like we need those little release valves of releasing that intensity. So make sure if you're doing that, if you have to do that today, listen. I'm going to put it this way. I'll put it this way. If you were already intending to have conversations in relationality to being able to bring something energetically to the surface, then today might be good energy to facilitate that type of work. Because, and I'm going to utilize this in like all caps here, intentionality. If you were intentional, if you were already planning to do something like this, then this may help facilitate something in that regard. But even so, making sure that you do not do so in a way that feels like it is just an immediate feeling, feels like it is rash, feels like something that you didn't intend to do. Almost that moment, it's like a lot of this energy that feels like very like eager, it's very provocative is the best way I can put it. So making sure that if you're moving into that state of feeling energetically provocative, you do so in a way that is also requires introspection. Let introspection be your guiding light today. Ask yourself, have I introspected on what I am intending to navigate through right now? Let that introspection serve as that moment of helping you recognize the difference between what you might feel the sudden urge to do today versus being able to truly come into that space of saying, like, this is what I am intending to do. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union. And this is happening across the board. Everybody's just feeling a little bit triggered. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now. A lot of this is potentially, again, we've seen that a lot of this energy right now is feeling very self-isolated. Why is the energy, even in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, feeling a little like frustration in that isolation? Because we identified that the masculine and feminine energy are carrying this differently. Feminine is creating a lot more of, I told you, that deep diving, that slowing down, almost moving with the energetic signature, building into places and spaces of planning, of focus, of introspection. Masculine is not feeling that easement point in doing so. In fact, it feels like a little bit like having to navigate through the abandonment wound right now for masculine, because this is an energy that feels like it's standing in the way of masculine's desire to push something forward, to move that needle. So if there's masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, if you're trying to push something forward right now and you're feeling like the world's against you on it, like, don't let that moment be like, you know, like that. A lot of this, like building those doubts and fears coming up, a lot of it has to do with it's the energetic signature that we find ourselves in right now. So being able to navigate that, even so, I even told you this, for some of the masculine energy, that doesn't help this. I know me saying that doesn't even energetically help. I would like the masculine, I even said, you can't even say that right now to a lot of the masculine energy feeling this, because that's a masculine being like, you telling me that the stars are out to get me right now, which is why I'm feeling this, is not making me feel better about the situation, right? So we see even now that for a lot of this energy, feeling that sense of isolation, because it's not just what you're energetically carrying, but almost observing that the counterpart isn't necessarily in the same space that you are carrying it, is what's creating a little bit of this energetic prickliness. I told you, it's like that knocking shoulders effect in terms of finding yourself like in very close energetic proximity to another energetic signature that's trying to do something very difficult, like different than you. Feminine energy is like almost like trying to concentrate on the map, and masculine's trying to move forward. You can see how one can feel like one is being disturbed out of their concentration, right? And that's what's creating the frustration point. While masculine is trying to facilitate moving and feeling like the feminine energy, if the feminine energy is trying to introspect, is not moving at the speed that the masculine would like. So the ability right now to have these moments can be very, like they can be very amplified. Masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, we see even now that ability and recognition point is also happening, but much more on the tangible sphere, because we see even now that was coming into a point of energetic modification, recognizing and identifying that for a lot of these energies, learning how to navigate through those modalities right now, having that moment of being able to do this. This is like training wheel energy. You're learning how to do this for the first time. And a lot of that is understanding what feels like one's own personal energetic comfort zone. Because when we come into that pathwork of modification, it can always feel a little triggering, right? That's what happens. Being in divine union can feel very triggering because it's not a moment where you do everything that you want to do at every moment. You have to come into that pathwork of being mindful of your own self as well as mindful of the needs of the other. So what does the energy do in this modality right now? Do they have that moment of reactivity where they feel like they're being pushed out of their comfort zone? No, these energies are working on healing each other. They're working on healing within the self. So instead, they're coming into a point of introspection in relationality to what those boundaries are. Because it's only through properly articulating a need can we have that need provided. So even now we see that while these may be triggering circumstances, the energy both in the heart of the divine union and the energy coming into the divine union are trying to navigate and do that path work while also being very mindful of the difference of what you energetically feel versus the needs of the other. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, we see even now that this is why this energy feels even more ripe to potentially have some triggering situations happen today. Because this energy that we're experiencing is almost feeling like it needs that point of release, right? Masculine and feminine not being in separation during this time, it feels like that moment of looking at something and saying, I'm ready not to be in isolation anymore. There's almost like all of this is now being amplified by that feeling of any energetic isolation. This is either moments of not wanting to get too in one's own head, or these are moments or circumstances wherein, again, you're coming into that space of feeling that need of energetic release that we've been talking about. So again, making sure that you move forward today with intentionality is really key. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is, we've got here, look at this combination today. We've got here our Hermit in its reversal in combination with our 3 of Cups in its reversal. So what we've got here, again, I'll put it the best way I can describe this, especially for the energy. This is across the board, actually. I'm seeing this across the board. This is like, I want to say, this is like this prickliness, this temperamentalness. That's not just the extension point. Like, I'll put it this way. There's going to be a lot of energy today that's like trying to figure out what one wants to do to come into a point of easement. Because it's almost that moment being like, do I want to stay here? No, I don't like staying here. Do I want to go out there? No, I don't want to go out there. It's almost like that amplification of the discomfort that's almost like further facilitating that frustration that we're seeing here. Because a lot of this, and hopefully we'll get some clarity on this, a lot of this we're feeling, I want to describe this. I feel like this is almost like the scorpionic sting that we're experiencing right now on top of a lot of this intense energy that has been building up with the de-escalation of the eclipse as well as the pullback of the Mercury retrograde, right? Because it's almost creating that sense of energetic discomfort. That's why I'm going to say it again, making sure that you lead forth today from a place that feels like it is intentional is very, very valuable and important, because there could be a moment that we see that is occurring right now that almost feels like that moment where it's like If someone like grazes by you the wrong way, if someone like breathes on you wrong, you might find that you're a little bit more energetically reactive, because it's almost that moment of just feeling, sometimes these are energetic signatures that we just need to navigate through. So a little bit of this like energetic prickliness, this is almost like energetic crankiness that we're feeling, that just might make it a little bit harder to navigate both, like, again. And it's almost that moment of being like not knowing what one wants to do with oneself, because you don't want to be in isolation, but you also don't really want to be out. So maybe take a walk, like maybe go take a walk. But today might be a good days to take walks, is what I'm seeing. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. A lot of this feminine energy, I'm just going to say, this is giving a lot of this feeling of just, it's because, like, I can see why. It's like it's trying to carry a lot of that path work from the past. It's like almost like requiring that sense of going inwards. But again, that need or desire to be able to place that is going to feel a little bit energetically heavy today. So again, I'm going to say this, making sure that you weigh what you are saying to others today is going to be very key, to make sure that you don't effectively speak speak from a place of discomfiture as opposed to intentionality. Whereas for masculine energy right now, this has more to do with that path work in relationality to potentially hitting that abandonment wound, in feeling that sense of finding one's own sense of self and one's own sense of purpose, but not, again, doing a lot of work and not projecting that out into any feelings of energetic rejection in relationality to anything that you're currently experiencing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we've got here King of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine energy, what we're effectively seeing is a lot of this frequency today. It's just, I want to say, it's one that feels like it's hitting a lot more in that sense of stability. It's hitting much more in the space of like the tangibles. So we see even now for masculine, this could be having to navigate, and I even see it, a lot of masculine energy, even in separation right now, feeling like you're trying to do a lot of work in navigating that energy of not only your own self, but people around you. And I'm not surprised to see this too, because we even saw that for some of the energy right now, there's other energy coming towards them from a point of energetic need, almost feeling that same energetic disruption point. This is like the amplification of masculine, almost saying to like a lot of the energy around them today, like, I'm out of spoons. Like if these are spaces or places where masculine is almost like acting as a supportive system towards other energy, this is a moment where we're seeing to a certain extent that masculine is feeling a little bit, I told you, a little bit more of that instability. And that instability is such that I want to say that one of the best things to do right now, masculine, if you're feeling like this, is make sure that you're articulating from a place of recognizing that you also have needs. It's okay to be able to articulate and amplify if you have a need that needs to be effectively or energetically fulfilled. Because what we're seeing that's happening right now, even for a lot of the, like this is happening kind of across the board with all of the frequencies, that ability of recognizing, like the masculine is doing a lot of path work right now and being able to articulate what their own needs are. And that's really interesting, because that's, again, some of this has to do with what is happening right now, especially with the masculine energy and separation, building upon that path work of stating what one's purpose is, figuring out what that purpose is, especially if there was that moment that you were feeling like you were a little bit uncertain about what direction you were moving in right now. This is that moment that feels like that amplification point for masculine that has a lot more to do with dealing in the realms of feeling the anxiety of bringing forth a need towards others and feeling the weight of what happens or what occurs in relationality to an abandonment wound if someone isn't able to meet that need. Right? This is a lot of that heavier energetic unpacking that the masculine is deep diving into right now, specifically almost starting from asking oneself the question and saying, why am I afraid to ask for things? And that's that moment that we always see, that masculine is almost saying that the heart of intimacy for a lot of the masculine energy is navigating those spaces or places wherein you feel to a certain extent that when you bring forth and ask for something, there's always that potential abandonment wound that's created in the energy around you saying no. But that's, again, masculine understanding and recognizing that when we come into that path work, when we identify and recognize a space or place where we ask for something and someone can't give that to us, that's not a moment that should be feeling like the amplification of energetic rejection, but more a moment of energetic redirection. Understanding and identifying that that's that moment of saying, well, I know what I'm seeking cannot be found here. For masculine energy, this is a lot of that internal journeying that's occurring today, potentially in the realm of thinking about a lot of that path work. While for feminine energy right now, this is why I see that for the feminine energy, this might be a lot more energetically triggering. Because this is feminine energy potentially navigating and seeing things from the past from different perspectives, looking at things in different ways, feeling a little bit of that energetic frustration rising to the surface right now. And I told you that for a lot of the feminine energy that is in separation right now, it's not the fact that you aren't seeing signs that you're moving in the right direction, but it's almost being amplified by the fact that some of the masculine energy around you, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, we've been seeing this, is almost halfway there. Like there's a lot of feminine energy right now that's experiencing a lot of masculine energy that's being very authentic about the fact that they're very energetically confused. So we see even now that for feminine energy experiencing that, that can feel like an amplification point in frustration today, because this is feminine energy that is really, really, really energetically averse to anything that feels confusing. Hence me making that reference to the confusion cake, right? A lot of the feminine energy was just coming into a place of being like, if something looks like it's energetically confusing, I'll just pass, because feminine's looking for the masculine energy that has that sense of energetic intention. While for masculine and feminine energy, coming into divine union right now, and that's why I need to say for the feminine right now, not letting yourself get energetically triggered is going to be very key, because this could be a moment where, again, if this is masculine energy trying to come towards feminine, do you see a little bit of the perfect storm that's happening right now that we have to be mindful of? We see some masculine energy that's really, really, really trying to build up the energetic courage to be able to come forward to feminine from a place of clarity and honesty. We see feminine and feeling a little bit unstable there. We see feminine feeling very, very frustrated around the masculine, potentially not having that, bringing forth that clarity of intentionality. So you can see how these energies are so close, but they might actually accidentally like bump each other right now in a moment, because they're both trying to do what the other energetically wants. And the ability to miscommunicate, to misidentify that is happening is so high, like highly energetically possible here. So just be a little mindful of that today, okay? Leave everyone a little bit of grace, you know what I mean, in relationality to navigating that. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, this is that same energy coming into that space or place of feeling like literally learning how to come into that adaptability point. Because it does feel like a little bit of a moving goalpost. This is going to change on a case-by-case basis, because these are energies that are learning the difference between moving so far afield of one's own needs that you feel like you're losing yourself in an energetic connection, versus finding that ability of like pushing out of your own energetic comfort zone just enough to find a way that you're able to continue to feel that sense of being able to move towards your own, like stay within your own path and purpose, but making that point of energetic accommodation for another. So we see even now that the ability of the energy to do so, it's not perfect. We see even now that there may even be that moment of feeling like there's some kind of rehabilitation that's happening here in relationality, some of these circumstances or situations, because a lot of it is, again, for feminine, we were seeing that this is feminine that was desiring an energetic connection with masculine, but potentially seeing that masculine energy either did not have the same aspiration and desire as to what the feminine desired to do to build that connection in this moment, or that the feminine energy wanted to do something that was creating a state or space of wanting to do something energetically with someone who's excited to do something. Whereas masculine is, again, almost trying to create that space or place of saying to the feminine, I appreciate you, I value you, I want to give you that space because I trust your own energetic judgment. So we see here that the ability to like miscommunicate or misarticulate is still very high, but these energies, are they pushing away from each other at that moment? No, they're pushing closer to one another, even at a moment of disparity, because it's that moment of almost getting to the root or understanding something in a better way. Getting that point of clarity is what is allowing these energies to continue forward, even through something that feels difficult, but allowing that difficulty to allow for an energetic breakthrough. While for masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union right now, this modality is just one that like I need to stress has a lot to do with a lot of the energetic feeling that we're seeing right now in relationality to, as I mentioned, the fact that masculine and feminine right now, they're experiencing this in very different places and spaces. Feminine, it's building that need and that desire of introspection, right? That depth. Masculine, it's building that need or desire to move forward. It is energetically more difficult for the masculine to navigate this right now because it feels so energetically oppressive. That's why we see, and for feminine right now, this is a moment that feels like the feminine isn't very eager to be around others as they experience this, because that's almost the deepening of their own introspection. So you can see that even for the heart of the energy, and even for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, this could be a little energetically prickly. But that ability to navigate, that ability to get to the root of something, that ability to like really lean in a moment to get that sense of understanding. Even now, there's a way to be able to utilize this with a sense of allowing for some kind of energetic breakthrough, because it's almost that moment of having those deeper conversations, but utilized in such a way that you're able to like kind of get to the heart of situations and circumstances by trying to move towards a point of energetic clarity. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, this is nice. We've got like, interestingly, and so I'm going to, I know this is going to sound a little confusing, but let me clarify what's happening here. Cause I basically said it prior to us starting this reading when I was giving the recap of what we've been seeing. So this type of energetic signature, we've got the come down happening from the eclipse. We've got the pull back from the retrograde, right? And now we've got that scorpionic energy of the full moon, just adding that level of clarity or truth to circumstances or situations, things under the surface rising up. If you're moving through this right now with a state of intentionality, right? If you're letting that pathwork of intention serving that energetic purpose, like allowing that to guide you forward with intentionality, something that you are putting thought in, something that you have put consideration in communicating, then an energy like this can help facilitate a conversations and situations wherein you have to talk about things that are hard to discuss. So you see even now, like that's that moment that even now this pathwork can almost be energetically facilitated to a certain extent, because that scorpionic full moon energy does allow that ability to like dig a little bit more energetically deep in conversations and situations that need that kind of like energetic like depth and probing, as it were, in relationality to like uncovering like some of that like thing, like the deeper truths around circumstances or situations. So this is a moment where that energy can actually, again, even with its prickliness, it can serve a purpose. What do we want to avoid? What do we want to avoid with the scorpionic full moon? We want to avoid saying something rashly that we wouldn't have said prior to a moment of not feeling a point of energetic discomfort. We want to avoid a moment where we're feeling energetically triggered by the intensity of a situation or circumstance, and we speak out of our we speak out of our own alignment. We react in a way that feels like it is uncharacteristic to us, because that's that moment that I told you. It's like that slingshot energy and like that scorpionic sting that just makes you kind of like accidentally shoot one off in like inadvertently, that may not necessarily feel like it's actually coming from a place of authenticity so much as it's almost coming from having that energetic trigger get hit, that feels like that moment of like, you know, like almost like that moment of just like saying something and almost having to say something to someone in the next minute being like, I didn't mean that. And someone being like, you know, like that's where we see a lot of that like difficulty energetically coming from if you're not moving through this type of energy in a positive way. So again, I'm going to say, if you weren't planning on having a conversation with someone today and then suddenly you had this like inspiration to, that's almost like that moment that allows you that sense of saying to oneself, like, is this something that I mean to do? Or is this something that I'm suddenly just feeling the inspiration to do at this moment? Today is not the day to pop off on someone, is what I'm trying to tell you. Or think about the way you're going to bring something up. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. Again, even now, this is something that needs to be navigated, because this is clumsy elbows all around, even for the energy at the heart of the divine union frequency. But again, utilizing it in the way that I identified and articulated, being able to express, again, not coming into a space of subjecting others to your emotions. You know, not weaponizing your emotions, utilizing them from a point of observation, being able to speak about how one's feeling instead of coming into a space of subjecting one to how someone is feeling. That is where we see that this becomes a pathwork of purpose, because that's that moment that you can almost allow yourself to say, Like, I want to work very carefully today to make sure that I'm not misunderstood. So like leaning into that intensity is going to allow for a lot of intense, productive conversations. But even so, be very, like, these are very difficult, these are very sensitive areas that we're seeing here. So just be mindful of that, because there's also there's a lot of potentiality here to like hit, like to navigate, have to navigate like soft spots, okay? Masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union frequency, same exact message. You guys are learning how to do this. This is like, for even like, this is now where it could be a little bit more triggering for the energy coming into divine union, because at least for the energy at the heart of the divine union, this is something that might be something that you continue to facilitate. Like you know that sensitivity space, you know what to be mindful of, right? The energy in the divine union frequency almost knows those sensitive spots around something or someone to be able to avoid, even at a moment of feeling energetically triggered. For the energy coming into divine union today, be very mindful of like not of being like giving and someone's energetic soft spot like a large berth, because there's a like almost a high, I'm going to say there's a heightened sensitivity today, particularly around the masculine energy. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. While for masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, I'm going to say it again. Please don't pop off on anybody today. Please remember, please send this to whoever needs to hear this, because there's just a lot of this you see this because we've got here this perfect storm happening of feminine energy potentially looking back, feeling the weight of the pullback. Even now, and this was hard right now, and I also stress this to a lot of the feminine energy right now, okay? If you're going through those moments where you're looking back on past energy, don't take the anxieties and the past and don't project them on the energies of the present. Right? Because there's a lot of that possibility right now of feminine seeing something and being like, that looks an awful like what that other, like one of those moments of feminine having that ability to potentially see something from the past and be able to start projecting it forward into the present, that even now, like it could almost be an overview, if you will, seeing something and almost like taking that taking that molehill today, turning it into a mountain, because something from the present is reminding you of something from the past, i.e. the energetic trigger. So if that's happening, don't let yourself become reactive. Use your words. Talk about the sensitive thing. You may even want to energetically say to someone, be like, I'm sorry, I'm feeling triggered because this is reminding me of something else that happened. Again, when we navigate triggers, the way that we are mindful about whether energy can move into a state or space, the way that we can identify energy that is positive to move forward towards us is seeing what someone does when we tell them that there's something that we are vulnerable with. An energy that works to facilitate discovering that, an energy that says, thank you for sharing that, I will work to protect that mightily now. That is that moment of seeing something and understanding and saying, okay, look, in a moment of me expressing a vulnerability, someone is being very energetically mindful of it and working to facilitate protecting it. Like, that's the protective quality that we can almost see during this like scorpionic full moon. Whereas again, to be able to say to someone, here is my vulnerability point, and someone being like, bam, like, oh, is that where, like, thank you, that's where it is, pop, right there, right? Thank you for showing me. Like, that is almost like that point of energetic clarity. So we need to be very mindful today that if those soft spots are coming up, we work in that space of energetically protecting them, as opposed to coming to that place of like, or even like, again, if we accidentally hit those spaces, being very mindful about those conversations. We discuss, we articulate them to see how someone utilizes that going forward to build that sense of energetic trust. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, I'm not surprised to see. I would be shocked if this card hadn't come up today in this reading. We've got our talking about the scorpionic full moon. We've got Scorpio's buddy here. We've got the death card. This is Scorpio's card. It's like, yeah, it was going to come up. Of course it is. But that's why we have to be very, very energetically mindful today. Okay. Nobody, and especially you Scorpions out there. Okay. Because I know you guys already do this. All right, I know you already do this. Don't you dare say the soft part loud today because you're feeling triggered. All right? I don't want anybody feeling triggered and then like responds by triggering on the trigger. Like that's that moment. Like a lot of this, when utilized in a positive way, there can be a lot of transformation that occurs during these energetic signatures. But it has to require being able to navigate through something that is energetically difficult, something that is energetically hard. That moment of looking, like the pathwork of intentionality and relationality to what you want to energetically change. Being able to be mindful, being able to be energetically mindful today on what you are aspiring to change will be facilitated today. If you're not energetically mindful, you may effectively, have a moment of doing something that creates a change that you didn't aspire and desire to have. So just be a little bit conscientious, as it were, in being able to utilize this energy in a positive, productive fashion. And even now, we see that for a lot, I'm going to say it again, for a lot of the feminine energy right now, feeling that energetic transformation point is either that moment, like if you're feeling that fire, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to do it? You're just going to sit there and punch back into the past with it? You're just going to throw a lot of venom to the past if you're feeling that energetic frequency of frustration and relationality coming through some path work? Or are you going to let that moment amplify your own personal transformation forward? Are you going to say, I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to turn that into the transformation of self? I'm going to let that facilitate my ability to move forward from things, because there's a lot of this possibility right now, potentially for feminine in separation, of being triggered by the past. And like, I got to say, you throw energy at the past, you're just like wasting energy. Like you're throwing tomatoes at something that's like 2 years ago. Is that helpful? It feels like it's like a wasted energetic effort to a certain extent. So we see even now that for the feminine energy, almost coming into that moment, feeling something like that energetically, and then saying what purpose does it energetically serve? It's almost the feminine saying, why don't I take that and I propel it forward and I allow it to energetically move me forward into positivity, like transforming that into something that feels like it is positive and productive. While for masculine energy right now in separation, this is a lot of personal transformation that's potentially happening. I told you, a lot of the masculine energy in separation right now, if you're going through a moment where you have a lot of regret for the past, if you have a moment that your priorities are shifting, well, congratulations. Because I know how energetically difficult those are. It's painful. It's painful to hold regret. It's painful to have those reprioritization points, because sometimes when you reprioritize, it feels like you left something incredibly valuable in the past. But for the masculine energy that's not letting that be a moment of energetic defeat, that is the energy that is masculine, building pathwork of energetic purpose, because that's letting that energetically transform you and help guide your steps as you go forward. Because the ability to change is in the present. And that is what we see that is happening for a lot of the masculine energy right now. And for a lot of that masculine energy, that's either a moment, and this is why we see that this is so energetically dense for some of the masculine energy right now. There's that moment of fearing the energetic rejection and trying to come into pathwork of rectification. We see that. That's a lot of that masculine energy, feeling the weight of the energetic regret, but then also saying, do I have the confidence to push forward on this? So this is some heavy, heavy energy for masculine. But again, not letting that be a moment of feeling energetically defeated, taking that and almost building that pathwork of energetic purpose, letting that help amplify and remind yourself that the ability to change things is existent and ever present in every moment that we're in the present. We see even now that that's that moment, that this is either like some big shifting that a masculine energy is having in relationality to their own connection with self that is potentially amplified during this moment of energetic intensity. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, a lot of this is the energetic equivalent to a certain extent. What we're effectively seeing is a lot of the energy coming into divine union. You are in the midst of this transformation process. You are literally in the midst of it already. Like you're already doing it and you're feeling some of that frustration. Having transformational moments is not all sunshine and roses. Transformation is hard. It's, anyone who's moved, anyone who's changed career paths, anyone who's done that is always it feels like you're like, what am I doing? This is nuts. But again, that ability for these energies right now to navigate forward through those things, to even now bumping elbows as they do so energetically or spiritually, that is that moment that feels like that energetic breakthrough point, because that's that moment of, again, it doesn't feel like that energetic ending moment. It's not that moment of someone saying like, oh, we want different things, like I guess that means we're just going to separate from this point. No, these are energies that are like, we can navigate forward. We are still in energetic union, even if we need to come into that point or pathwork of energetic modification, because that's that feeling of, again, meeting the need of the other, having an energy that is willing to be adaptable, that's willing to change, that's willing to lean forward and come into their own energetic discomfiture for the sake of meeting someone energetically, is what's amplifying that feeling right now for a lot of these energies coming into divine union of like the true, like that's the beauty of the divine union. It's almost like feeling that energetic flexibility that allows for that constant adaptation towards one another in terms of meeting one another's needs and being able to energetically make accommodations within the self to be able to serve that need without leaving your own path. While for masculine and feminine in the heart of the divine union right now, this is a lot of that energy that feels like, again, it's a lot of that same energetic intensity that we were seeing and experiencing in relationality to what we're seeing across all the other levels. The only difficulty that we're seeing right now is, again, and I need to stress this because we've been seeing this all week, this is a lot more energetically difficult right now for the masculine to navigate, because I'm telling you right now, there's like what we see here that needs to be careful is we see that feminine energy is more in that state or space of feeling some kind of need to communicate to masculine right now. Do you see all of this energy of the feminine trying to come towards masculine? And masculine is almost at that point of feeling or experiencing something that feels a little energetically exhausted at this point. So we see even now that being able to be mindful of recognizing that how we energetically feel might not necessarily be the space or place that another energy is inhabiting. Coming into that point of almost like asking energetic permission from someone before we move forward towards someone in relationality to our needs is going to be very important at this time, because we see right now still masculine and feminine almost energetically carrying this right now in different ways. Masculine having to like be more in the practical realm right now. Feminine wanting more of that energetic connection, but also feeling a little bit of uncertainty in terms of where to find it. So both of these energies, like everybody needs to like recognize and identify and almost move into that like modality of asking for energetic consent, if you will, prior to like assuming that someone is ready to like be invested in, especially in relationality to conversation or planning right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hermit in its reversal and our Three of Cups in its reversal. Nobody feels like being around anybody today. That's what these two cards are saying. I don't want to be in, but I don't want to be around people. Like that's what we're seeing across the board, which is why I'm warning you about that like prickliness, okay? May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is like, it's giving me a lot of like that, you know, that energetic feeling where you feel like you just want to like crawl out of your skin. You're just like, what do I want? Like it's giving me a lot. It's given a lot of that today. Just, if you're already feeling it, let this serve as validation, because it's a lot of being like, it's a lot of like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. Do you want to go there? No. It's like a lot of that type of energy of being like thinking about lots of options, but being like, no. Like it's giving a lot of that. So, and that can be very energetically frustrating, because it's almost like, again, that amplification of trying to make choices today at a moment that no one wants to make energetic choices, right? Almost like feeling that sense that like, it's almost like looking at the energetic options and not liking them. It's almost like what we're seeing. Like, it's almost like everybody looking at me and like, I'm like, like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of that today. But again, if you're feeling this, just remember that this is just an energetic feeling. It will pass, right? Like sometimes we just need to ride out some currents. But that sense of that prickliness, what we want to avoid, I told you, this could be a nice opportunity. Like even now, everything serves an energetic purpose. That ability to like let this be a moment of thinking outside the box, very good. Good day to like think outside the box. Good day to introspect. Good day to like, you know, there might be there might be a lot of energetic breakthroughs today in relationality due to the fact that it's that moment of dissatisfaction of the energetic options. I told you, the gift of the Mercury retrograde is the Mercury retrograde helps us determine if that groove that we were in was really a rut, right? So we see even now that a lot of that energy moving into that state or space, what happens when we're feeling that discomfiture? It allows for potential breakthroughs. It allows for new opportunities. It allows for that moment of energetic expansion. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, I'm going to say it again, making sure that you utilize this in a productive fashion today will be very valuable, because we see even now, this is a moment that like the energy, you may be feeling that energetic signature of someone like being like too energetically close to comfort, but you also don't want to be alone. And if you're feeling like that, I want you to recognize that might not have anything to do with the energy around you. It just might have to be the vibe, right? Because that's effectively allowing for some like new ideas, new opportunities, new perspectives on things. This is, again, a good day to think of ideas, maybe not necessarily to act upon them. Being mindful about, again, not becoming too reactive with this type of energetic signature. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, same exact message. That ability right now to like, this is almost like a lot of energy. I told you, it's one thing to be able to heal on your own. It's suddenly a whole different thing when suddenly you got someone like very close to you. And we see that a lot of this energy is also going through some massive transformation processes. But the ability to like, and what happens here? What happens when, rather than becoming reactive, rather than getting to that place of pushing someone away, when you're feeling that sensation of saying like, I don't feel good, I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be around you. Like that's that moment that the other energy says, I feel it too, right? That's that moment that as long as we don't allow ourselves to be reactive, as long as we articulate on how we are feeling, we can almost find those ties that bind. Because as long as we don't become reactive, as long as we articulate on how we're feeling, that allows for some of those energetic breakthroughs. This is a lot of energy of like people that are like, I want to say like sitting quietly, like working in the same room together, but like very far apart. Like it's that type of energy today. Well, for masculine and feminine energy and separation, this is why I'm saying today might be like, just be very mindful. Be very mindful of not over assuming that past situations are energetically repeating. Leave some flexibility in relationality to something new energetically happening. Because I'm going to say right now, that modality of not overlooking towards the past, looking towards the past, finding some important lesson, but not assuming that something from the past is energetically happening again. The way that we recognize and identify that is, rather than allowing ourselves to come into a reactive space, we articulate on it to get the clarity in how someone energetically reacts. So even now, if there's a moment that someone is feeling energetically triggered, having a moment of being the advantage point of articulating to someone that something has energetically triggered you will then give you all the insight you need about whether that energy is one wherein they will protect what you give them. That is an energetic trigger, saying like, thank you for telling me that. I will be very energetically mindful of not stepping over that in the future, versus the energy that may like feel like, oh, thank you for giving me that, and taking like a shot at that, because that's that moment that, again, for a lot of the energy amplifies right now that point of determination, and whether you feel like there's something that's happening even in the present, because even now this is the energy moving towards new energetic connections or resolving past energetic connections that feels like the weight is being recognized in how someone holds and respects your own energetic triggers. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Three of Cups in its reversal and our King of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. We've got here our Knight of Cups in its upright. So again, the value of working with energy such as this is not in reacting to how you energetically feel, but being able to articulate what you need. The challenge for the masculine energy right now is being able to articulate what you emotionally need right now. And we see even now that a lot of this masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. this is a lot of this work that we see even now. If this is masculine energy that's building that sense of energetic pathwork in relationality to that pathwork of purpose, building that sense of desire in relationality to what it is that you feel like you want to move forward towards feminine, that ability of recognizing, this is again what we see here that's really beautiful, is masculine almost saying to oneself, I'm not doing this for the sake of what I might aspire and receive from the feminine. I'm doing this because I recognize that when I lead from my heart space, when I move from a place of intentionality, then that's that moment. Like, what happens when we move from intentionality? That's that moment that we relinquish the outcome, because that's almost that moment that we say to ourselves, I would do it anyway. I would do it anyway. Regardless of the outcome, I would do it anyway. That is the articulation of finding one's path and purpose, is most amplified in a moment of saying, regardless of what the outcome is, this is what I emotionally or energetically want to put forth, because that is that feeling of doing what your heart is guiding you to do, that doesn't need something coming back as a point of validation, right? That's just following the energetic heart, if you will, wherever it leads. And we see even now that for masculine and feminine energy, navigating that is how we can even see that some of this energetic point, like being able to be mindful of this, is really important, because we see even now, we want to be very careful, because feminine energy is feeling very energetically triggered right now in separation. Feminine energy is feeling a lot of energetic frustration right now in relationality to masculine not being able to come forward from a place of being open. And now of all times, what do we see the masculine doing? Masculine being like, I'm bringing you this, but it's very like tentative. And so we see even now that this could create a moment of energetic, like you see how this could be like misinterpretations could happen very easily with this type of energetic signature here. Because we're almost seeing masculine like utilizing this energy right now to tentatively come towards feminine at a moment from a place of authenticity, and feminine is at a moment of trying to energetically recover from experiencing a lot of that feeling of the past path work that they're trying not to project out into the present. So both of these energies right now, just give a little bit of room of like, don't assume anything. If you have a question, just ask the question. Don't assume, because these energies right now are almost like very like inclined to misunderstand someone's motivations and energetic intentions today. So feminine, that could be not coming into us. This could be if this is masculine, like leading forward, trying to emotionally articulate to the feminine. We see here that this is feminine energy that's really looking for that intentionality path from the masculine right now. So this might be something that is energetically hard for the feminine, because it's almost that moment that, like, again, what happens when the feminine's feeling overwhelmed right now, trying to like navigate forward with their emotions, and masculine brings them forth more emotions. It's almost feminine being like, you are bringing a bucket of water to the ocean. I'm dealing with an ocean today, and you just brought me a bucket of water, right? And that's where we see that some of the feminine energy is moving right with it. That's where we could see that could be a little bit frustrating for the feminine right now. While as for masculine energy in this moment, having that moment of feminine being like, I'm trying to like deal with a lot of this energy of like the emotionality, and you're bringing more like energy of emotion to them. It could be a moment that you might feel like the feminine, if the feminine isn't available for it, it's not because the feminine can't bear it. It's because they're almost energetically I'm going to put it this way, almost energetically overwhelmed from receiving something. Masculine, be a little mindful that like when that happens, that doesn't mean that there's an energetic rejection moment happening here. You have to like almost allow for some of that moment of like energetic patience in relationality to something here, because we see that you may be, if you're feeling a lot of intensity, assume that the feminine is too. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union frequency right now, this is the energy that's learning that path work of, instead of just reacting when they feel like they need something, what is masculine doing here? Masculine is telling feminine what they need emotionally, right? If this is the masculine, I'm saying to the feminine, I'm not energetically available for something. This is the masculine that's not just bearing the weight of that and feeling frustrated. This is the masculine using their energetic words to a certain extent that is helping facilitate, even at a moment that takes something that may create that sense of energetic disruption. But it's not the fact of the masculine like adding to that. That's a masculine almost articulating their emotional needs. And the feminine feeling the masculine, communicating their emotional needs. That's a feminine that's like going to come in a pinch towards masculine energy that they know and appreciate that how hard it is for the masculine to open up in that way. And that's the feminine immediately trying to serve to receive that. Because we see even now that is, again, that moment or modality. And this is, again, that same misinterpretation could potentially happen here. Because the only thing that may be happening here, even now, is the feminine needs to be able to be in a space or state of being able to articulate and say to masculine what they energetically need in relationality to what masculine is giving them. Because even now, these are energies that are learning to find that point of mutual modification that facilitates a good, strong, divine partnership. While for masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, this is potentially masculine energy having to articulate to feminine, especially if this is a moment the feminine really wants to communicate to the masculine. I told you, you have to ask for energetic permission right now if you're trying to put emotional energy on someone else with this type of signature. Because this could be a moment of masculine having to articulate to the feminine at this time and saying I am energetically here for you, but I don't want to fake that. I want to make sure that I'm actually able to be energetically present. And we see even now that this is masculine dealing with a lot of frustrations in the tangible space that might make it hard for the masculine to be as present towards the feminine as the feminine might desire in relationality to doing some of that deep dive or introspection right now. So making sure that we don't miscommunicate right now is really important. One of the things that might help a masculine in this modality right now is if you don't have the spoons or the energy to communicate with feminine in this way, being able to say to them, I can't do it now, but I will be able to do it then. And for feminine, recognizing and appreciating a masculine that says to you effectively, I want to connect with you emotionally and energetically, but I have things that need to take priority over that. Recognizing that that's masculine, it's almost saying to the feminine energy, I'm trying to energetically protect the divine union by staying focused in the tangible space. I'm doing that for the sake of the energetic union. That's the feminine also recognizing and understanding the difference between a masculine pushing off an energetic need to connect, versus a masculine that's saying, I fully intend to connect with you, just at this point when I'll be more energetically or emotionally able to invest in that type of work. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our King of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Eight of Wands. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Pentacles. I'm telling you right now, masculine energy has a lot to do right now, is experiencing this energy right now and putting a lot of focus in the tangible space. A lot of focus in the tangible space. And the funny thing about this right now is for the energy of the feminine in separation, that is wonderful. That's wonderful. That's what the feminine is seeking. For the feminine energy right now in the divine union, that is not wonderful, because that is not what the feminine energy in the divine union frequency is seeking. Do you see how this can sometimes be a little like these energies experience things in different ways? So for the masculine energy in divine union, saying to the feminine energy right now, I need to focus on the tangible. I need to focus on the intention. I need to focus on the path and the purpose. I am not energetically available right now for the emotional aspect because I'm trying to preserve the energy of the divine union. I'm trying to keep this in the tangible space. That is how the masculine is trying to ground through some of this intensity. So the problem is that's something that for the energy in the divine union right now may feel energetically triggering, because this is the feminine energy is feeling I want to be in that. I feel like that need, this is almost feminine energy not being sure what to do with themselves energetically right now, because this is a feminine energy that's almost I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be out with others. I just want to be kind of an energetic connection with you. And masculine being I appreciate and value that, but I can't right now because I've got to focus on the tangible. So even now for feminine to recognize and identify the fact that there might be that moment of having to find another energetic connection here in relationality to being able to build forth in this way, that is that moment that feels like that amplification in being, again, these energies being mindful of what the other energy needs. So for masculine, if you're saying that to feminine right now, being able to say to the feminine, I can't do it now, but I can do it then. That is going to potentially help with the disparity in your energetic signatures now. For feminine, recognizing and realizing, for a masculine coming forward to you and saying, I want to energetically connect with you, but I need to focus on the tangible for the sake of preserving the energy of the divine union. That is feminine energy that, again, recognizes the masculine saying, again, it's not that I can't right now, it's that I'm not in a space or place that I'd be able to energetically invest to the extreme that you desire. Like, that is the pathwork of patience. So for both of these energies right now, there may be a lot of possibility and misunderstanding or miscommunication. That's why we have to give each other a lot of grace during this time. For the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, and also for the energy coming into the divine union frequency. Fortunately, for the energy in separation right now, this is wonderful, because this is masculine energy focusing on the tangible. This is masculine energy focusing on the intentionality, focusing on the pathwork, focusing on the purpose, right? So for the energy of separation, experiencing this type of modality, look at this. Masculine energy coming forward from a place of authenticity in terms of what they're giving, offering towards feminine. That is something that even for the feminine, even if it might not be, I'll put this way, even if that clarity might not be what the feminine energy aspired and desired, that's the feminine energy feeling the relief of a masculine that's able to articulate what it is that they truly want towards the feminine from a place of honesty and intentionality. So even now we see that that's a moment of feminine feeling some sense of validation if there's masculine energy that approaches them in this way, because that is the pathwork. That is the requirements for positive communication in any energetic scenario. So we almost see here that is why we even see right now feminine energy making sure to be very mindful, especially if this is if this is starting small, if this is some kind of energy coming towards you today with those small energetic signatures of someone trying to do so. Not to assume, not to put the past pathwork into play, not to assume that is a past happening again, almost giving someone a little bit of clearance, giving someone a little bit of margin to say, can you clarify that? Can you clear up what you mean? Can you please tell me again, almost articulating what your own triggers and doubts and anxieties are. That is the pathwork for allowing this to be a moment that could be that point that could actually allow for a lot of air to get cleared today. If and only if you don't let yourself get triggered in the process. A lot of that energetic air being cleared in terms of clarity, intentionality, and pathwork of purpose. But a lot of this, I'll need to stress, this is masculine leading forth to feminine with it, not feminine energetically seeking it out. So we see even now that for a lot of the feminine energy, not coming into a space or place of assuming what something is today, giving someone a little bit of leeway in relationality to communicating is going to be very valuable and important here, because we see that feminine energies dealing with a lot of the energy of the past as they're navigating something new in the present that can sometimes be that moment of projecting the past into the present that we want to be a little careful of. We don't want to forget about the past energetically, but we want to be mindful not to let the past experience to overshadow energy trying to come forward from a place of clarity and authenticity. While for masculine energy right now, recognizing and identifying that the feminine energy may have a lot of their may feel like a lot of that anxiety today, maybe working through a lot of that. That is almost a moment of, again, being a little bit conscientious of making sure that you're very clear in relationality to your feelings and your intentions will help avoid anything that might become a more triggering situation or circumstance. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Eight of Wands in combination with our Death card. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with this energy today. We've got here our Four. Why not? Of course, that's what I'm saying. They got the Four of Swords. You got to remember the problem with this right now, or I'm not going to say the challenge. The challenge right now is that there's a lot of communication that's happening right now, but it's all with the shadow of the past overlaying circumstances or situations, metaphysically or tangibly. And right now, that ability to navigate forward on this is that moment that can feel very triggering, because it's almost requiring that need to look towards, especially if these are past situations that are coming back towards someone in some way or shape or form. The major question that one needs to articulate and amplify is not whether the past comes back, but whether the past has changed, whether there's something here that feels like there's actually been some point of change here. And we see that change point Where is that energetic change coming from? This is either, again, masculine energy that's literally going through some kind of transformation process, potentially in building forth in relationality. 2, their prioritization of what it is that they truly want, and also potentially with what it is that you aspire, like your ability to build authentically and speak authentically towards feminine. So we see here that there's a lot of masculine energy that's potentially trying to do this right now, having seen the look towards the past and seen something that they can change in the present. But at the same time, we've got a lot of this feminine energy that's got their guard up due to the past, around the past situations and circumstances, feeling that anxiety, feeling that uncertainty, experiencing that, and almost like allowing for that point of potentially having a bit of reactivity in relationality to whether something is coming towards them in a space or place of being effectively able to change, or at a moment where they're feeling the frustration of seeing something that they're effectively trying to energetically heal from. So we see even now that there's a lot of possibility here that is rife for miscommunication. So giving someone that space today to be able to articulate, not to assume, but to speak, to express how you are feeling, as opposed to becoming energetically reactive instead of subjecting someone to your emotions. All of this is going to be very important right now. Masculine and feminine energy, this is the work that you are doing if you're coming into divine union right now, that is allowing you to facilitate and come into divine union. Your own ability to recognize and identify the lessons of the past, letting that past serve as that pathwork of progress. This is energy that's feeling the past, again, coming back up, but it is being able to reach into the energetic toolkit and do something in a way that feels like it is facilitating that point of productivity. That is that moment that feels like the amplification of energetic breakthrough. Because if these are energies that are mutually finding that work of, again, meeting each other, being able to move out of their own comfort level to be able to meet the needs of the other without feeling like they're sacrificing themselves in the process, this is the energy that feels like the amplification of energies that are matching frequencies, because those are energies that are able to, again, lean out just a bit, like find that point to be able to energetically serve the other, but still feel like they're still not moving far off of their own path. And that is the energy of alignment, because that's that moment that allows for perpetual adaptability and change, but one that feels like it's not one that gets you off your path. It feels like something that is just like almost that ability to be incredibly perpetually flexible, because it's almost being flexible for someone in a way that it doesn't feel that energetically difficult to be flexible for. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. This is a bit more energetically disruptive right now for the energy, because this is something that we're seeing to a certain extent. This is old wounds coming to the surface. These are triggering circumstances or situations. This is, again, navigating something. One of the things that may be happening right now is, again, this is a lot of that purging path work. If there are cycles here, unhelpful energetic cycles, this is that moment that they feel like they're being brought forth specifically for the sake of either saying, let's find a different pathway. Let's find a new alternative solution so that we can move forward in terms of not energetically repeating something that feels like it might be a persistent problem. So that's that moment that may require that hard look at things. But again, all for the sake of being able to facilitate some kind of energetic breakthrough. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Four of Cups in combination with our Knight of Cups. A little bit of a cloud break here. We like to see this. May I please have one card to clarify here? Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, right? This is the energy that feels that abundance of positivity, even in the modality of what feels like energetic blockers. This is why we see even now, if there's something here that you're experiencing or encountering in the heart of the divine union frequency that feels like a repeating problem or some kind of energetic block that you keep navigating, this is the energy that almost feels that persistence in the pathwork, almost saying to oneself, every problem has an energetic solution. If we haven't found the energetic solution to the problem, it's not because it is an energetic lost cause. It's that we just haven't presented the right energetic solution to whatever feels like that blockage is being created. So we see even now that ability to navigate, that ability to come up with new alternatives, new energetic options. That is like what's facilitating that work of the divine union, because that's almost that moment that feels like the energetic commitment of saying to one another, there's no problem that we can't experience. There's no problem that we can't energetically solve. We just need to figure out a different approach. We just need to figure out a different tactic. We just need to figure out, again, that's why we were seeing over and over again that sense of location, location, location in relationality to identifying the source of an energetic problem, to be able to feel like you can facilitate something that allows for that clearance point to help move towards your manifestation goals. And we see that a lot of the energy right now in the divine union frequency is maintaining that type of pursuit in relationality to anything that they're experiencing right now that's creating that sense of discomforture, all for the sake of finding something that feels energetically easier as you proceed forward from this time. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union frequency, you're learning how to do this. You're learning how to do this for the first time. And the beauty of this, and this is why we see even now that these energies are so focused and building upon it, is again that amplification point and saying to someone, you make something energetically easy. But recognizing and identifying that that's not just a fluke. If you find someone in pathwork that somebody is able to make something energetically easy, these are energies that are matching energetic frequencies in relationality to having the same energetic approach to problems, right? We see even now, those are energies that if things get tough, the energy doesn't get going. Like that's almost the energy that's showing that ability of identifying a problem and then facilitating and looking towards one another to find those energetic solutions, right? And so even now for the energy coming into divine union, that ability of seeing something that is energetically difficult, but feeling that sense of both committing to finding better solutions on how to navigate something, almost with that assumption of being like, that's not going to move us away from our intentionality and purpose. That is the commitment of the divine union partnership, because that's that moment of seeing the other and saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm not here because something is energetically easy. I'm not here just because it's simple path work. I'm here because I am committed to making something easy, even if it isn't. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, this is why we see, even in separation, if there is path work that is happening here of new energy coming towards someone at this time, there is that moment of leaving a little bit of energetic open-mindedness, because a lot of this is almost this moment of feeling for feminine, looking at the past from a new perspective at the moment that there's new energy approaching towards you. Could create a moment where you may be feeling very inclined just to walk away from something because you're assuming something is going to be the same way that it was, but this could be indicative right now of masculine energy that's truly on some kind of pathwork right now of being able to bring something new forward towards feminine. And again, I'll say that for a lot of the feminine energy experiencing this right now, one of the things that will energetically help with this is, again, identifying the difference between masculine returning kind of in a point of energetic confusion, as opposed to masculine that's coming towards you from a place of authenticity and emotion and like emotional authenticity and intentional purpose. So even now for the feminine energy to almost leave that moment even now is like taking a little bit of energetic weighing right now, because there could be that moment of feminine experiencing something here that requires that kind of energetic decision making. While for masculine, we see that energetically here, you're also potentially doing a lot of this right now. You are weighing your own energetic options, if in separation, trying to ascertain if there's a possibility of coming into restoration around some circumstances or situations right now from the past, but recognizing that those aren't past path work that you can go back towards the way that you came. Being able to look at something and say, no, I understand now. I can bring something different to it than I didn't understand before, versus spaces or places wherein you may be identifying and feeling the weight. And for a lot of the masculine energy right now, this is a lot of that energy that's like leading towards you, effectively like moving towards something because your heart is calling you forward in that direction. And what's beautiful for a lot of the masculine energy moving forward in this way is you're doing that important value work of looking at something and saying to oneself, I'm moving forward in that direction regardless of the energetic outcome. regardless of the energetic outcome. That's almost masculine saying to themselves, I would do this regardless of the energetic outcome because that is where my path is guiding me. And that is the amplification of a masculine that, again, is doing a lot of work as they move forward in this way to heal their own energetic heart, because that's that moment of allowing the heart space to guide forward regardless of the energetic outcome that feels like that healing gesture. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Cups in combination with our Knight of Pentacles. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Wands. The circumstance and situation right now, and you can see this for a lot of the energy and separation. Feminine energy. This is almost feminine energy finding masculine in this moment modality and having a lot of energetic trepidation. Right? Look at this. You see all this trepidation here? A lot of feminine energy right now in that point of energetic trepidation. Why? Because I told you a lot of that feminine path work right now is moving into that spade or space or place over the last few days of feeling the weight of the Mercury retrograde, that feeling of being called back to the past that's almost reaffirming their own commitment to the path work that's created that sense of energetic balance for them going forward. So we see even now that for a lot of the feminine energy in that modality, can you see how this energy is rife for miscommunications and misunderstandings here? Because we've got here a lot of masculine energy ready to move towards feminine from a state of authenticity, from a state of intentionality. But we see here that the feminine is at a place where, for good reason, they're very energetically guarded. They're very conscientious. They're very energetically protected. And what we appreciate for the feminine energy here is this is feminine energy that is not in a state or space of effectively releasing that energetic guarded energy. This is feminine energy that is moving forward and towards masculine with that sense of understanding and recognition that the masculine energy that's on the healing journey will recognize and identify why the feminine energy has these energetic guardrails up. Because this is either masculine energy that has gone through that same pathwork of purpose, that understands what is required to heal, which is why the masculine is leading towards the feminine in this fashion. And that's almost the masculine energy that's showing some kind of energetic commitment to proving to the feminine that what they're bringing forth to them is something that is authentic, is something that is intentional. And that's the masculine that's almost affirming that by building towards that moment of saying to the feminine, I understand why you got your guard up. I understand why you got that here. And that's the energy that's almost, again, that's not energy of masculine, like trying to push past those boundaries. That's a masculine being like, I totally respect and understand those energetic boundaries. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is that energetic equivalent of what's appreciative about these energies right now is they're doing that mutual work in finding the boundary between being able to come into that point of modification, of adjustment, being able to meet the needs of the other without feeling like you're deviating too far from your own path and purpose. Both of these energies right now in the divine union frequency are doing that type of energetic work. And that's that moment that always feels like you're like, again, that energy of compassion is like you're always willing to push the envelope a little, because the energy that and both of these energies are like, well, I don't want you to overstep your own comfort level. And that's that point that we see that's the mindfulness, like that's the energetic compassion of energies that are like moving towards that space of wanting to say, like, I don't want to put you energetically out. I want to be able to meet you in the middle, because both of these energies are almost working compassionately in terms of recognizing the other and wanting to feel like they don't want to create a state of feeling like they're overburdening another in the process of trying to energetically meet one another. Masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency. I told you, this is some of the hardest energy right now, because while we see that there's a lot of intentionality that is coming through, a lot of practicality that is building the basis of the energy for the feminine, feeling like something is truly strong, truly stable, that is coming towards them. For the feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, this ability of masculine to focus on the stability right now, it may feel like it's energetically triggering your own abandonment wounds, because it may feel like the masculine is not ready or willing to meet you emotionally. But again, I want you to recognize what's happening here for all the energy and the other frequencies. That ability of concentrating on the stability point is what's amplifying and building a lot of energy into the heart of the divine union right now. Like that's what a lot of the feminine energy is seeking. So you can see even now that if there's feminine energy that's in the heart of the divine union and being like, wow, they're so concentrated on what they're creating, like in the tangible, like you can see that might be a moment that may feel like a little bit of an energetic hurdle for the feminine, because that's that moment of, again, what's the masculine saying to the feminine in this moment? I need to have this point of concentration right now. I don't have the energetic bandwidth to potentially have something here. But again, having that point of being able to meet the needs of the other is what's permitting and allowing that sense of event, almost saying to one another, like, maybe not now, but in the, like, later, that's something that can occur, right? So even here we see that the only difference is for the energy at the heart of the divine union frequency right now. This may feel more energetically challenging because the masculine focusing on the stabilization point doesn't feel romantic, right? It feels very like almost energetically romantic to everyone in the other frequencies, but for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, it may be energetically triggering or challenging for the feminine energy, because the feminine energy feels a little bit energetically isolated with the desire to be able to introspect and connect in this way towards the masculine at this time. So just be a little mindful of that, because again, I told you a lot of miscommunications could potentially rise up right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Pentacles in combination with our Four of Swords and its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Two of Pentacles. That's the thing. Masculine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, they're dealing with a lot. Feminine energy, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're in the divine union frequency, recognizing that masculine feels like they're having to like do some dual path work right now. Masculine energy is trying to navigate situations and circumstances from the metaphysical past or the tangible past, rising to the surface, while also putting a lot of effort and energy in the practicals in the present. So we see even now this is masculine energy feeling a little bit energetically overwhelmed. So the best thing that you can do right now, feminine energy, if in the divine union frequency, is again, if this is masculine, it's almost trying to articulate to you and say, I have a desire to meet your energetic needs. I feel a little energetically overwhelmed right now. That's the moment of the feminine saying, like, I recognize and understand that. How can I energetically help you? While for feminine energy right now in that modality, this could be a moment that we see. It may feel a little energetically challenging for you because you are also feeling like you are experiencing that moment of navigating dual path work, because you yourself are also experiencing a lot of that energetic overwhelm from the past rising to the surface, while you are also navigating a lot of those emotions at the same time. And it may be feeling a little energetically difficult for feminine, because this is a moment of the feminine wanting to like more energetically connect with the masculine, but almost feeling like there isn't enough energetic time too. So we see even now, what are these energies doing to support one another? They're making plans to be able to energetically connect in that way. They're doing that work of helping each other balance the prioritization point and understanding what can be put aside to be addressed later. It's all about prioritization points right now. Everything can be done. It's just a matter of when. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union frequency, you're learning how to do this. You're learning, this is hard because this is now energy that it's not just you're managing your own needs, but you're managing the needs of the other. On top of experiencing all of these energetic shifts, potentially even practical changes that you're experiencing, on top of a lot of this energy from the past rising back up in metaphysical or tangible ways. And your approach to how to navigate some of that past energy is being amplified with where you find yourself presently. So we see even now that may be requiring a little bit of that energetic clumsiness and relationality to experiences from the past returning, but recognizing where you may find yourself in the present. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is a lot of the feminine energy. Like, I'll put it this way, masculine energy, like coming towards feminine being like, here you go. And feminine being like, really now? Like now, because this is feminine energy that's going through all of this energetic path work right now. That's doing all of this work to really focus on maintaining and laying out those energetic boundaries. But even now we see that those energetic boundaries, it's not even coming from a place of energetic confidence right now. It's more from a feminine feeling a little bit energetically triggered with this energy today. So it could be very hard for the feminine to feel very energetically triggered, and then suddenly masculine is coming forward with intentionality, because this is the feminine energy almost feeling like they have to weigh that, they have to like do that dual path work of managing what they were feeling from the past while also experiencing what they're having navigating in the present. So again, I'll say this to the feminine again, making sure that you don't over project the past into present situations. And how do you not over project the past into present situations? You offer You offer that sense of energetic leniency to see if someone is showing some kind of expression of doing something in a different way that shows that it's mindful and respectful of your own energetic boundaries. While for masculine energy right now, if in separation, this is that modality that we see that is an allowance point of masculine really coming forward from a point of energetic purpose. This is a lot of masculine energy right now that's building that sense of energetic purpose and relationality to what you feel like you're moving towards. And a lot of this has a moment of, again, feeling like you're balancing the past with the present, right? Because if we're feeling energetic regret for the past, congratulations, we can adjust and modify in the present. So this is masculine energy that is not just moving forward haphazardly. This is masculine energy weighing the past and saying to themselves, as you go forward from this point, what do I want to energetically do differently? What do I feel like I can fix? What do I feel like I can learn from to be able to come into a better sense of alignment with the feminine? So we see even now that there is that moment, as long as you don't let yourself get triggered today, where there could be a lot of productivity in terms of being very clear in relationality to what it is that you want going forward and where you presently find yourself today. Clarification coming through right now between our 8 of Cups in its reversal and our 9 of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. 2 cards coming out. That's the problem that we're seeing here. We've got 2, oh, look at this. We got 2 of Cups right now in combination with our 7 of Swords in its reversal. So even now, for a lot of feminine energy in separation, this is a lot of energy from, okay, I'm going to put it this way. This is either feminine energy, navigating new energetic connections, possible new energetic connections presently, and feeling the anxiety of the past, not wanting to repeat the past energetic lessons. Or this is the feminine energy navigating energy from the past, trying to come back towards them from a point of restoration, but trying to see if there's been enough energetic change so that it's not a repetition of a past experience or situation. Making sure that something isn't just trying to go back to what it was, but seeing that sense of someone being able to energetically recognize what needs to transform to allow something to come into a state of being that feels like it is true partnership, something that feels like it's in alignment, especially if there were things in the past that were not in alignment. Continuing to get clear for masculine energy, this is very similar path and purpose here. This is masculine energy looking towards the past, having that understanding of what you need to change within your own path work, having that sense of, again, even recognizing, navigating forward right now to be able to build forth, either in coming into that place and path work of reconciliation with the feminine, by opening up and coming to that place of vulnerability and honesty, or masculine energy that is utilizing that expression or that understanding of the past to amplify the new energetic connections that you're seeking forward, mindful of making those energetic changes that are going to allow for a statement of, again, the combination of authenticity and intentionality of purpose to allow for a true energetic connection. Continuing for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, you guys are doing this right now. The beauty of this is the fact that you're always coming to that point of energetic modification. And it's not the fact that you're not being reminded of the past at this time, but you're utilizing that past as a toolbox that is amplifying that work of being able to correct for issues from the past. That's that moment of nostalgia where in the past feels like it's energetically serving you in the present, because it's not that moment of the past energetically repeating itself. It's almost that moment that feels like the amplification point on what can happen when you're working with energy that's truly in alignment with you. While for masculine and feminine energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, this can feel like very triggering energy today, because this is that moment of not letting yourself get caught in your own past path work. We told you, we saw even now that there's a lot of that repetition of cycles that's coming through. Being able to see a repetition of cycle to really ask oneself if there's something that can be modified, especially because if there's anything here that you're feeling is a repetition of a cycle that feels like it is damaging the partnership, that's that ability of having that hard conversation to be able to energetically address it in order to facilitate a better partnership going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 9 of Wands in combination with our 2 of Pentacles. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 10 of Pentacles. As long as you don't get triggered today, this can be an exceptionally productive day. There could be a lot of energetic restoration that happens here today. A lot of things coming to the surface, putting cards on the table, being able to come into a point of energetic balance. And what's happening, what we like about this is not the fact that energy is just moving towards things full tilt. There's a lot of energetic caution at play here. There's a lot of talking or discussion or navigating sensitive areas. But as long as, again, what do we do when we find a sensitivity zone? What is that expression of love? Navigating it, again, with that energetic sense of protection. How navigating a sensitive subject in a protective way facilitates a better positive outcome. So we see even now, like even for the energy in the heart of the divine union, it's not the fact that you're not willing to have a hard conversation, but being very mindful and present as you do so almost allows that ability of someone to recognize their own vulnerabilities in order to facilitate better energetic outcomes as you proceed forward from that point. So that's that moment of seeing something that could feel energetically triggering and then allowing it to become immediately energetically productive, so long as you don't let yourself become energetically triggered around something that feels sensitive. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, you're doing the same exact path work here. The only difference is you're doing that work of trying to blend your own lives. The difficulty is, these are moments where you may be recognizing sensitivities that you didn't even know someone had, right? Because that's that moment when you become closer to someone, you suddenly realize these like little inadvertent things that you might not know about each other. But even those revelations right now, that ability of understanding, that is that moment that feels like the weight and value of someone saying, I didn't know that. I'll be more energetically precious about that going forward, which is why these energies are facilitating going forward in connection, because it's the amplification of someone who finds a vulnerability and weakness and then says, I will do everything I can to energetically protect that, as opposed to energy feeling past experiences where someone may have tried to utilize that as a pathwork of advantage. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, this is why we see that the possibility for triggering situations is so ripe, because this could even be conversations with someone or situations with someone wherein you feel that energetic sensitivity already. Like you're already in that moment of feeling very energetically sensitive. And that moment, potentially, if these are energies that are trying to change, or masculine trying to go towards something to heal something, having to come into that point of accountability, that is almost like what needs to be balanced here. And a lot of that may require that masculine energy, bearing in mind that you may have to come into that point of being able to articulate and amplify like what you feel like you might need to do a better job protecting going forward, right? Because that's that masculine energy coming into that space or place of healing. That's the masculine trying to heal themselves for the sake of protecting the feminine. Protecting the feminine from what? From the unhealed masculine energy, from the masculine energy's own abandonment wounds. And so that's the masculine energy that's able to articulate on seeing that and understanding that within the self, because that's that moment of masculine saying, I recognize, I can see something, and my ability to see something allows me to make a different choice. So we see even now that may be feminine energy having a little bit of that sensitive pathwork, even in separation right now, but allowing for some point of energetic easement, because this is either feminine energy that's experiencing that and saying, like, I appreciate that, but still there's this energetic boundary between us, or this is feminine energy building that sense of self within the self and finding that ability to balance forward the boundaries from the past, but also taking them as valuable lessons, because this is feminine energy in separation saying, these boundaries that I'm holding are going to help me move towards what feels like it's in alignment for me. Final cards for today's spread is, we've got here our Two of Cups in combination with our Seven of Swords, in combination with our Ten of Pentacles. Huge cards that we're ending today with. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Cups and it's upright. So a lot of this energetic work right now, we were talking about this the last couple of days. It's still very present and relevant. Choices, choices, choices. Everything is moving that into that point of productivity in relationality to choice. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. That ability to recognize and understand that sense of feeling the past, or the ability to return back to the past coming into play here. That's the energy we're seeing for feminine energy. A lot of that is that moment that, again, it's almost recognizing and feeling that pull of the past. But that's almost, again, being able to be looked at without returning back to the past, letting it, having a little bit of that backwards view that helps you focus your direction going forward, right? Feeling that energetic sadness around things from the past, but almost utilizing that as pathwork and seeing and understanding what caused the difficulties or the hurdles. And that's actually helping you build on that sense of energetic choice in the present, because that's feminine energy that's not just moving blindly forward. That's feminine energy that's almost committing on looking in both directions as they move towards divine union, by almost saying, I'm going to recognize and identify and feel like that energetic pull from the past is what's guiding me energetically forward, because that's my mindfulness in feeling like what's in alignment versus what is not. So this is all coming through right now for feminine energy, feeling that modality or ability in terms of identifying and recognizing what feels like it's alignment for them going forward. So a lot of that is building that sense of energetic balance that is amplifying that sense of energetic choice. While for masculine energy, in separation right now, this is the masculine energy, building that sense of energetic choice, coming into that point of determination. That is being informed upon making some energetic changes from the past, looking at the past, recognizing and identifying what you want to change, allowing for some of that transformational energy, not letting yourself get caught in regret, but almost building upon that, reaching into that toolbox, saying to yourself, I understand what I need to bring forward. And so we see even now that is masculine energy in separation, potentially recognizing and identifying that the only way to build forward from a place with honesty with feminine, the only way to have what you aspire and desire, if you want your dreams fulfilled with the feminine, you have to be able to articulate what those dreams are. So we see that this is a lot of the masculine energy coming into that point of energetic confidence, and potentially even throwing a little bit of that caution to the wind, if you will, because that's a masculine energy almost feeling the regret of having not done so in the past, that is being rectified in their own ability to do so in the present, and that is leading to the abundance of new possibilities and opportunities in relationality, to articulating and not proceeding forward and saying that everything was energetically perfect, but almost having that point of pathwork and seeing what you can energetically change to allow for better partnerships as you proceed forward from this point. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is what you're doing. You're learning how to do this now. You're just doing it in a bigger way, because this is that moment that all hurdles feel like nothing, because this is energy that only, like what happens when you create that prioritization point in a connection. Everything else, like the volume goes down on it, because that's that moment that like the prioritization of maintaining the energetic partnership feels like that amplification point, that feels like it's through the partnership that anything is energetically possible. It just needs to, like where there's a will, there's a way. While as for the energy in the heart of the divine union frequency, there's this moment of, again, putting a very hard view on the past, potentially even looking at things that are difficult, but all for the sake of recognizing unhealthy energetic patterns in order to facilitate more productive outcomes, recognizing that when we're able to break free from an unproductive circumstance, that allows for a new amplification of options and choices. So a lot of these energies right now identifying what feels like it's an energetic hurdle to be able to come towards new energetic solutions. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is time. Patience. What did I keep saying at the start of this reading? There's a difference. Being able to utilize this type of energy right now, the key difference in having these type of conversations has to do with intentionality. Today is not the day to pop off out, to say something that just comes to you in this moment, like that moment that just feels like you're feeling something and then you're just going to act upon it. More so, this is a good day to really amplify that thought of allowing something that has been under the surface, something that you've been meaning to bring forth, to allow that a moment of coming forward. Because that's the difference of, again, this is that energy of the scorpionic energy is really good in terms of articulating honesty, clarity, bringing in that sense of, again, transformation through energetic revelation. So being able to utilize that in a way, but again, that same energy in the wrong context can be very energetically damaging, right? That's the sting of the scorpion's tail. So how do we utilize that in a way that feels like it is positive? We build forth in that sense of allowing that to be a place of building a lot of clarity in relationality to something that we were intending to do, but in a way that feels like you're kind of bringing things like putting your energetic cards on the table, if you will, letting that intentionality serve that purpose today. The scorpionic energy will potentially help with that in terms of talking about difficult things in a very clear, open, authentic way. Whereas again, if this is a moment that you're just feeling energetically conflicted and you're just kind of shooting off, like saying something in a moment that you don't energetically think about it, that could be a moment that something like comes out that you didn't like intend to come out. And that can be very like, that's why we see even now, that could be something that feels like it moves you off your own energetic path work, because that's that moment of just feeling energetically triggered and saying something that you don't necessarily mean at a moment that you're just feeling a lot of intensity of the energetic expression. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I've also got a couple of quick announcements before we move into private readings. First and foremost, I still have that survey up. If you have not taken the survey to win a free reading with me, it is a 2-minute travel survey. Anyone who takes that survey will be entered. And if we reach 100 people to fill out that survey, I will be throwing in not only the free 15-minute reading, but also a free 30-minute reading. So I encourage you to do so. If you've already filled it out, I want to thank you so much. And if you know someone who might want to enter, please, I encourage you to forward them that link. Also, I'm very excited to announce that last week we began our tarot class series. It was a fantastic class. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Our next class, we are moving on in our tarot journey. The next class will be the Magician. The Magician card will be the focus of our next class. Our next class will be on May 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. All you need to do to become, if you missed our first class, never fear. Anyone with a paid subscription to my Substack will have access to all of the classes and all of the materials from the class. All you need to do to become a part of those classes is become a paid subscriber to my Substack, gracestrega.substack.com. Your subscription will grant you access to those classes, as well as receiving all of the recordings of previous classes, as well as also having access to a free one-on-one private chat with me where you can ask me any questions that you have in relation to the classes or your own tarot journey. Also, if you become a founding member to my classes, included in your subscription will also be a free 1-hour mentorship reading with me, wherein we will review where you are on your own tarot journey, and I will give you indications or insight on how to best utilize the classes and build curriculum that will serve your own energetic purposes. These classes are built to be useful for both the brand new novice user tarot reader as well as the seasoned professional. So I thank you guys so much. Thank you to everybody who's joined us. And even if you're not going to become a paid subscriber, I encourage you to just follow me on my Substack, where I'll be notifying you of anything that is coming up in terms of new plans, new events, etc. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of each other, and we will do this again